We are all evil in some form or another, are we not?
For years, humans have been fascinated with the characteristics of a killer. We've poured research into what makes someone more predisposed to kill, as well as the catalyst that pushes someone over the edge. And all findings have led us back to the more than familiar nature versus nurture debate. Do we possess the ability to kill because we are inherently a violent species? Or is it more a question of our adaptiveness and how any part of our environment can shape our behavior? Whatever the influence, several motivations can link even the craziest of killers. We kill predominantly for advantage, revenge, or some form of entertainment. Oftentimes our emotions can vary, and the attacks can range from spontaneous to premeditated, but the motivations of advantage, revenge, or entertainment are the one constant among all the chaos. To further explore these ideas, let's examine a brief synopsis of killing throughout history.
Since our evolution from ape to human, we've been engaging in the brutal act of killing one another. Killing doesn't only happen on the individual level, however, as early gladiator matches in 260 BC demonstrate publicized murder as entertainment. Just as a family today can go witness a baseball game, families could go see a public battle to the death as a pastime. Mass murder would predate the demonstration to society, however, with the term genocide used to describe these events. The earliest confirmed genocide was the destruction of Melos in 416 BC, where the Athenian military captured Melos. The Athenians then proceeded to kill every adult male in the city of Melos and enslave all women and children. This culture of murder would be seen to dictate society, however, changing warfare, life, and culture, even today.
On April 20th, 1999, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold followed through on a plan they had for Columbine High School. Their plan, which was made a year in advance, was to plant a propane bomb in the high school's cafeteria before shooting the fleeing survivors. Then they would drive a truck into the crowd of survivors and blow up the other propane bombs, killing thousands of people. Students, school faculty, and support crews were all supposed targets, but according to Timothy McVeigh, they were actually just considered collateral damage. Klebold was a hot-headed kid, but was also depressive and suicidal, and blamed himself as his motive for the attack. Harris, on the other hand, was known to be sweet-faced, well-spoken, and some people even called him nice. But he was actually cold and calculating, whose pattern of grandiosity, glibness, contempt, lack of empathy, and superiority led to his categorization as a psychopath. Klebold was hurting inside, while Harris wanted to hurt people, Special Agent Dwayne Fusilier, the FBI's lead Columbine investigator, said. He was a brilliant killer without a conscience, searching for the most diabolical scheme imaginable, investigators claimed. Similarly, on October 1st, 2017, Stephen Paddock opened fire on concert-goers at the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival on the Las Vegas Strip. He acted alone and killed 58 people and wounded 422. The panic that followed caused the total injuries to be 851. Eric Paddock, his brother, quote, believed Paddock may have conducted the attack because he had done everything in the world he wanted to do, and was bored with everything. If so, Paddock would have planned the attack to kill a large amount of people because he would want to be known as having the largest casualty count. Paddock always wanted to be the best and known to everyone, end quote. Psychopathic signs can be found in his wish for grandiosity, lack of empathy, and superiority, just like Eric Harris. Although being miles and miles apart, these killers were not far apart in their methods.
Why do people do bad things to other people?
Okay, there's the question of nature over nurture. That's an old question, but the theory was, give me 6 children and I can make them whatever. There's no question that the way you're brought up has a significant effect on how you view the world and what you feel is right and wrong. Probably our basic personality is inborn because they have done studies on identical twins that have been adopted into different families and never met, and they tend to have the same personality. They're either very positive and outgoing, or they're very reserved, or whatever. And despite the fact that they're brought up in different families with different circumstances, they have the same personality. However, they may not have the same values as far as whatever their culture they grew up in, whatever their parents' belief systems were. So, and this is really varied. I mean, if you grew up in a pygmy tribe and it was considered you had to eat so many brains or hearts to get into the promised land because that's what pygmies did, you wouldn't have any remorse about killing somebody and eating their brain or their heart, because that would be accepted by your culture, and that would be rationalized some way as okay because this is what you needed to do. However, there are many things other than nature and nurture that affect your personality or the way you react in the world. Any trauma to the brain, whether it's to a football player who has becomes psychotic or kills somebody because of the trauma to his brain, whether it's a brain tumor, whether it's alcohol that makes you do something you wouldn't otherwise do, or drugs that would make you do something you would otherwise do. Even things like antidepressants can have profound effects on people. Even things like Ambien that you take for sleep, people get up and sleepwalk and eat and go out to nightclubs and come back and have no memory of it. So any psychotropic substance that gets into you can have, can make you act in a way that is you wouldn't do if you didn't have this substance in you. In fact, a lot of the school shootings involved drugs of some kind, either legal or illegal, that affected the person's ability to feel compassion for who they're shooting or whatever.
Mm-hmm. When we conclude that nature is responsible for some of the most notorious killers, we come up with a troubling idea that all people are predisposed to kill. That means that many of our behavioral patterns are hardwired in us and are subsequently passed down from generation to generation. When looking at the roots of civilization, we can infer that humans evolved to develop skills based on their surroundings and needs. For instance, let's look at the competition among resources for our early predecessors. Of those that survived, they did so because they developed the skills to either avoid or inflict harm in order to ensure their own survival. These violent traits were constantly evolving through time as it kept people alive and eventually got passed down to us, which is why we're all more capable to kill than we think. On the flip side, there is also value in the debate that life experiences can convince somebody to commit an act of violence. The main catalysts are brutalization, which is when you lose a sense of your own worth, classical conditioning, essentially associating a desired behavior with a reward, operant conditioning, which is when stimulated environments are involved, and role modeling, which is when you're looking up to someone and modeling their behavior. Oftentimes, traumatic childhoods and poor relationships can be a similarity among killers because it fits into the brutalization category where the person is feeling mistreated and compelled to act out.
When I was in a psych ward, I saw a variety of problems. A lot of people were in the psych ward because they had killed somebody. Sometimes